Go.
All right. Welcome to today's meeting about instruction data analysis meeting. This is our 5th meeting, right? With regards to our vision, right? Our vision, quick right, tier 1 strategy for Cavazos. So today's meeting is a little different than what I usually do. This is more of a, you guys get to sort of help me with the data, okay? And I always start with this little gather statement, and guess what I did? I mix our regular mission statement. So it says, we're resilient and worthy Cavaliers, and we believe everyone will grow and succeed in a safe, nurturing environment. Today, we examine our instruction, not to judge, but to grow. That's really nice.
I love it.
If our students are worthy of excellence, then our teaching deserves reflection.
Amen.
We are Cavazos.
Very good.
So, and really, I spoke with,
Me too.
is it good? I spoke with, I'm trying to keep it kind of fast, but at the same time, I want us to like be able to, dive in. And I want y'all to understand what the reasoning is kind of behind some of this. Even though I'm going to be almost finished with this, I want to continue it, because this is technically my last meeting, but I want to actually maybe next semester continue doing like the meetings, and we maybe introduce a different strategy, because this one we've been focusing on is the vision statement with a quick write at the beginning. And today my main objective is to make sure that we are getting that improved retention, and that we are strengthening understanding and reflecting on quality instruction. More like, kind of like what Ms. Silva always says, we need to be intentional, right? And so today I want to make sure that our check for understanding matches the thing we're doing in our classroom. And to do that, we have data to prove it, right? Mm-hmm. So that's our purpose. And let's begin. So, what's the purpose of our quick write?
Activate brains.
Yep. Anything else?
Practice writing.
Absolutely.
They need it.
I forgot to do something, so that's why I'm ruffling my papers.
I'm like that.
You know what I forgot?
Don't know.
Oh man, I'm the worst ever.
Okay. And of course, in tennis, ours isn't. While you're looking.
No, go ahead.
Ours isn't writing. Ours is intentional practice. Like what we're practicing is intentionally making us better on the court. And so I was sharing with him that we are with Phelps that we practiced in the gym. We had a basketball, and we had one hand on top and one at the bottom, and of course the right hand is at the bottom, and we were practicing moving downwards with the ball and throwing it against the wall, and that's how we would do our tennis racket. And so then today we went out onto the tennis courts, and I was watching them as they were doing their forehands, and were they intentionally, or were they actually doing the movement correctly without thinking? And they were, all except for one kiddo, and I pulled her to the side, and I practiced with her separately from everybody else. And and they were still doing some hitting like little fly swatters, and I would mention to them, they would like, oh yes, and so they would try and change. So were they at 100%? No. That's very hard to be at 100% in tennis, just like anything else.
And then how do you just kind of track it mentally, or how do you do that?
Yes.
So,
and so because they're always going to go back to what they're familiar with, and so trying to make it more familiar as this, then we'll do that in January or in February when it gets warmer and we're able to go out there and actually hit the ball.
Okay, so let me ask you this, it's funny because I've been doing it this way for a minute. So at the beginning of the year, let's say the first 9 weeks, how many students about do you have?
It varies, but right now we have
just approximate
11.
So we have about 11. How many
in varsity tennis? Then we have pre-ath and then.
Sure. So the ones you're mostly speaking about do we have about 11 of those beginners? That's the pre-ath or,
No, this is the actual, tennis team,
okay,
and they are, I do have beginners, but we also have a mixture of, like, Araceli, who is amazing,
mm-hmm,
and moving up, and then we have all the way down to where we have, and I don't know if we wanna use names in here, I just put JL.
mm-hmm,
She's the one that I took aside, and when I was like, okay, let's go back and forth with her, and she was doing better, but she didn't have it down, and then I moved another student with her because went to work with one more advanced kiddo, and so it was nice to have the student helping the other student. Is like peer teaching.
love it, yeah.
And so that was nice. And he is a first year student, and Kingston.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
He has gone from down here to,
yeah,
Yeah, he's a smart kiddo.
yeah, he is.
He really
they
is.
all are. They
Oh,
catch
yeah.
on really easy. I just.
Well, one of the things I was gonna say is like, I did this with attendance for a minute. So like I asked Melanie, hey, what was our attendance about? Like absence for the first 9 weeks. What's the daily absence amount? So like take it, and then what I was gonna do was, because our learning minutes is kind of a thing on the radar, and I was like, well shoot, if we have 30 missing kids, that's 30 times the number of minutes in a day, that's a lot of loss in minutes. But like taking that sort of idea in how we construct our data, like in the first 9 weeks, how many people could not do it versus how many people could? What do you think?
Okay, that's a good. I would say the only one that could
So
was
yeah,
Araceli.
so you had one that could,
Yeah.
and everyone else.
Was struggling.
Okay, so how about
Like, take
let's
for instance her son. Okay, he came from Irons,
Mhm.
so he did have some background in it, and so when I was testing them, he could do a little bit more than the average middle student. He was more like my pre-out 6th graders that had moved up.
So about how many students ish would you say did you have at that time? Because we have one that could out of how much?
Out of the 11.
11, okay.
Mhm.
See, and that's the type of data I'm looking for. And now we're all the way to close to, we're at 16 weeks. So now we're at 16 weeks. And now how many people can do it?
Consistently,
Well, let's put a consistent column and a non-consistent, or a consistent and non-consistent.
I would say and now Cesar's gone.
Oh yeah, no, he's moving back home
Yeah,
to,
he's already gone.
it's his grandma, I think. I think that he had a sick relative
Yeah.
back home.
Yeah, so now it's a consistently 3.
So we got 3 out of 11 consistent. And then what would you say?
I have only one that I would say that,
One still
that
out of
cannot.
11. Oh, that cannot.
Yeah, that she's the one that I took aside and was like, let's try, let's keep trying.
So we got
And-
6 out of 11 that are like,
And you go back to what you just said about attendance, she has the worst attendance.
whoa.
There you go.
That makes a lot of sense. Wow.
I'm taking notes because like what I want to do, I'm going to take your data. This is the data, right, that you're doing.
Mhm.
And all we have to do is just write this down, and then now we can observe. And attendance is, God, that's awesome that we realize that. Cool.
And it just went
6,
ding, ding, ding. As soon as you
9,
brought it
10,
up, I was
11.
like,
Yeah,
there
perfect.
you go.
So I got 1 that's poo-poo, 6 that are, they're not meets, but they're progressing. Then we have 3 that are pretty close to meets, and then you have 1 that's top tier, right?
Yeah.
Ish.
One that exceeds.
Exceeds, there's your exceeds.
And then I guess meets is right below exceeds.
Yeah. And then you have, what's the other one?
Sometimes you have above average.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm thinking. You have exceeds and then
Above average.
above average,
Then average. or
then
meets.
average. and then
Okay.
below.
And then just the one.
Poor kid.
All right, well, cool. That's good tennis data. I love it.
And she's probably, no, because Kingston wasn't in tennis last year, so. And neither was Jay. But they're just phenomenal, because they were athletes. They were in football last year.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because if you're not an athlete, sometimes it's hard to understand all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like a translation, and I know her kid is getting kind of a double dose because I know the secret. He's been working out outside,
yeah.
and then he's working out with you, and so you can see the confidence of this kid. Okay, so moving on to tech apps. How are we looking over here?
So good, and it kind of makes me think a lot because my question today was, if you were to create a virtual world, a game, because we're trying to get started into coding, what would you name it? How many levels would you have? And what's the end goal? Like, what is the point? And I had to really explain a lot of that to them because they were like, well, I don't know, but you know, sometimes they're lazy and they don't want to think for themselves. But I had to give them ideas like, okay, you play Roblox, you play Fortnite. What's the point of playing that?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
like
what?
it.
Because I don't sometimes think they think about it. And it
Roblox,
helped
I
them.
don't know. Fortnite, kill them all.
And then I said, and what's the point? And how many levels would you have? And what would you do? And all these other questions started coming out, but I said, I just want you to answer these three. And I probably had, I'd say, 75% that really thought about what they were writing about.
That's good.
But it kind of goes back to I had to give them a little bit more of a guidance with those, like kind of ideas of what they already do, so they can make it sense with what I was asking them.
Perfect. So really you have the teacher-led guidance, and this is an area I see it's about practice. So if you practice your guidance, the students would essentially, do you think that we would not need to practice as much
Yes.
later? Okay, good.
The more questions I give them, they can understand and go.
Right,
on
because
their
you're
own.
getting them on a path to like a linear path to get to where you want. And that takes a lot of practice, especially with our kids.
Yes.
That's really good. So how did your, did you do your check for understanding and your questioning? I mean, I know that you got them to think about it, so how did that
They
play
just were
out?
kind of like a quick write about, you know, the things. So then I checked it to see if they really did understand what I was telling them.
How-
And I said, like I said, 75% understood finally after the guidance. Yeah, there were some that were still, or they didn't want to answer it.
Were they writing like sentences, or were they writing like
A few
just,
wrote sentences,
you know what I mean?
but a few just kind of listed.
so listed in
Because
sentence
there's still a lot,
variation?
yeah, because there's still a lot that can't spell, and they have Google, but they don't want to look that up.
That's just too hard.
But it got, I know, right? But it got them thinking a lot about it, because I'm like, yeah, I like this. Like,
I like that, yeah, for sure. And so how can we like help, because I know that in my class, like for example, when I'm doing the math stuff, I give them a calculator because I'm not teaching them math, I'm teaching them a process. So it's kind of like we need to figure out a way to sort of bridge that piece of gap, that from not being able to write a sentence to writing a sentence with those people for differentiation, right? And then figure out a way to make the sentence writers to give us like,
I think I could do sentence starters.
oh, okay.
Okay, and I know that because I've had to help Jesse with his English, and I see how Miss Flores does it. So I thought about next time giving them sentence starters, and that would help build, like, this is a sentence starter, like maybe 4 or 5 examples for the first question, 4 or 5 for the second question, and so on. And so they have a little bit of more guidance, and I don't have to tell them, they can actually read it.
Perfect.
And
That's-
that will tremendously help your special education students because we use sentence starters for everything.
Right, the sentence stems. I love that. All right, very good. I like that. So let's move on to AV productions, or do you want me to go next?
No, we can.
Okay, awesome.
So I had them tell me Well, I asked him a question. What type of camera would you prefer to film with at a school event? And I gave him two different options. I said a high resolution that has a shorter battery life, or a low resolution with a long battery life. And I wanted to, they all gave me their answers, and then I had them write down why they chose what they chose. And surprisingly enough, 68% got it right.
And what's the answer to this?
A low resolution with a long battery life, because we are not going to be doing any kind of large prints or posters. It's going to be for like yearbook and sharing. So we don't need a high resolution. We need a longer or a lower resolution that has a longer battery life, so we're not having to switch out batteries so much.
I love it. Man, that's
Yeah.
good. Shoot, I didn't even know that. And I worked at the AJ forever taking
Yes.
pictures for Spotted, so
Yes.
crazy. Yeah, we just had multiple batteries at high res. so
Yeah,
I got 'em.
yeah. I
Awesome.
really thought everybody was going to choose high res over the low res, but I think once I actually sat and thought about it, it was like, I think the lower resolution is so I'm not having to change my battery so much.
Yeah, and we all being lazy
and which
anyways.
was right.
Tell me, did you do like a multiple choice, or did they actually write anything?
No, they did. It was like an exit ticket.
Exit ticket,
Yeah.
so like multiple choice?
Yes.
Perfect. That's awesome. Okay. So we have our special ed
Schedule
leadership.
tennis pictures.
How have y'all, and I know you mentioned already you're doing sentence stems, and you have a lot smaller classes. So
I do.
talk to me about how you use like a visualization. Like, how do you get your kids to actually like mentally prepare for what they're about to put on paper? And then is that successful?
Bell work is our thing. That's where we do that, and having a writing prompt there with a couple of sentence stems helps them. For those, I have some that writing a sentence is like pulling teeth.
It is.
And so I tell them, okay, just finish my stem. It doesn't have to be perfect. I need you to try.
Oh, sorry.
And so sometimes it's just I need you to try. And then when they're stuck, then we verbalize it. We go over it. Okay, well, you could have written this. Oh, yeah. They're funny. But if they can't think to put it in words, then we can verbalize it.
Right. Okay, so you kind of use a combination.
I have to.
Do y'all use like a dictation or anything? Like, you know how students will verbalize and then you just dictate, or have them do that?
Transcribing?
Mm-hmm.
I don't transcribe for them, but now there are times that we will, during our Spire lessons, I'll dictate a sentence and have them write it. But to help them do that, I put the dashes on the board for each word.
Interesting. So I wonder if, are they at the level where they could do that peer to peer yet? Like one peer read, the other one write, and then that peer that read could be reading from their own.
In a couple of instances, yes. Not very many.
Right. Well, I know. I wouldn't expect that.
Right.
But I'm just thinking of like the future. Like, how could we?
I like that.
Yeah, we move it into the. Like, what I'm trying to get to at some point is the teacher gives the stimulus, and then the students take that, and you have like their parts.
Yeah. And
You know?
that's one thing that I got not necessarily dinged for on my observation was there was not enough student led. Well, how you do that when they can't do that?
Mhm.
Gotcha.
How's you do that? Because sometimes if we let a student lead it, we're going on the wrong path.
Okay, I'm gonna take a note of that and think about it.
I wish you would. Yeah, help me out with that. one.
I got you. I'm gonna put that on my little star list.
You know, just the Dunbar teacher, Spanish teacher, the way she does the student led is, or part of it is that she allows them to think of, what do you want our bell ringer to be? Oh, you want to play a game? Which game?
Okay.
Mhm.
And that becomes student led.
Well, and we're gonna
Okay.
move, in my language lab classes, what I have seen as they're taking their benchmark is we do not have a rich vocabulary. Not something I was surprised at, but then again, looking at some of the ones, I was like, seriously? So I told them in January they're gonna have 10 words every 2 weeks, and they will have a quiz every other week. And they were like, "What?" I said, "But you're also going to have activities to do with these words. I'm not just gonna give them to you and make you do it by yourself." And one of the things that they don't know is they will have to do skits using those
for
words.
sure.
And they are hilarious when you watch these kids do skits, trying to figure out how to use, like, bandit. They didn't know really what a bandit was. And so they're gonna have to figure out, how are you gonna use that in a skit? Because of the 10 words, you gotta use 5 in your skit.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you have about 10 minutes to put it together and be as silly or as creative as you wanna be. And so how are you gonna put a bandit? What does he do? Well, he takes things, miss. All right, so you're gonna grab something from your partner, and he's gonna say, "Hey, stop! It's a bandit!" And then there you go. And once you get them going, they love skits.
Exactly.
They're hilarious. You'll walk by my room and it'll be loud.
Well, I will tell y'all, just to transition, I have like 2 little things. I've been writing down data. I had like a really interesting success story that I'll tell y'all that was crazy. And in fact, I got observed during it as well. And I was like, seriously, on all the days. So I did an assessment, and during the assessment, I had students that never even took the class, and I was like, you know what, you still get to take this assessment. And it was an insane assessment, and because it had 5 different categories of different kind of teaching that I taught for 25 days. And the students' average was between 78, my low, to 83, my high, which that's the entire class average. So I had a class average of 78 and a class that averaged at 83-ish. And so I was like very happy. And the student that didn't take, he bombed it. That didn't come to class bombed it. Now here's what that tells me. All those other students learned what that stuff was. And I was like, this is evidence that our students can freaking learn.
Yes.
And we're talking like all this robotics terminology. We're talking about math terminology, electrical engineering terminology. I mean, crazy, like they could label systems and electronics they didn't even know they were doing. And this one kid that didn't know, he just got stuff everywhere on his paper. Like he has no clue because he didn't learn it. And I was like, that's kind of fun to watch. It's fun to, like, I don't want him to fail. And I told him, I said, hey man, I need you to do the best. After he took his test, he's like, bro, I didn't know. And I was like, that's okay. It didn't count the way you think it counts, but it counts here because that shows us that our students can do it. And he's perfectly capable of doing it after he gets a little bit of, encouragement. So that was my little story.
I think the Cavasso students are extremely smart.
Oh, very.
I mean, when you stop and look at what they do and what they learn in different areas, it's like, oh.
Man, and they're smart they're smart sometimes not on paper. They're more smart like outside of testing range, I think, in some cases. Does that make sense? Like,
Well, I mean, look at, out of all the schools, our Cavasso student came in second at the Spanish Spelling Bee.
Yeah.
In tennis,
Oh my
they've
gosh.
medaled all over the
They
place.
did amazing.
right,
It's just,
we're doing it.
yeah, just everywhere. I mean, and it's not just the 2 that
And
I've
wrestling, didn't they do
Wrestling,
yeah.
they did well?
Yeah.
done. Our
we did.
basketball girls are undefeated.
Right.
It's just all over the place that,
Well, let me move on to this next part because I got to categorize this right quick. So I had tennis. I have to just show, it says we're going to categorize our kind of like our students' responses. And I have like strong evidence, partial understanding, or weak or missing understanding. And that's where our data, yep, I got you. We're having here, sign your name on that one. So, and we'll pass it around. So like we'll put where we're teacher-based, timekeeper and all that. So on tennis, we have strong evidence of learning partial. How would you say that with your, the techniques that you've been teaching, what would you say is, because remember we rated the last time kind of like, you remember how we rated? I forgot. It was sort of like we rated ourselves
Mhm.
as a proficient or whatever it was. Remember that? And so like now we're gonna kind of rate our student responses. So I just kind of wrote down, I already kind of have it, but let's just kind of get confluence, I guess. How would you rate the responses? Would you say this? Okay. Strong evidence. I think that you have strong evidence, honestly. Or do you think they have partial understanding or weak or missing understanding? Or is it based off your little categories here? What would you say?
I say strong.
Okay. Would y'all agree?
Yes.
I think it's strong evidence. I mean, you can like open your eyes and see if they're doing it, right?
Mhm.
Okay, and then over in tech apps.
I would say partial understanding because I think they need some extra guidance.
Okay, and then we have guidance as what do y'all think? I mean, I agree. I think it's partial as well. But I think you have pretty good evidence, you know, with your quick write strategy. And what about over in AV?
I feel like it's partial.
Partial? I was gonna say strong for
So
yours
was
too.
I mean,
I think yours is the strongest actually, because
Okay.
you had straight up true false.
yeah.
This is multiple choice. You either got it or you don't.
Okay, maybe my expectations are just a little bit higher then.
Well, because they got it, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, out of 109, 71 understood.
That's okay.
So,
Well, that's okay. I have tally marks. You have. I gave you one partial, and we three gave you strong. So,
okay, well, there you go.
and then with SPED, you know, I know that she's kind of developing, so we don't have to necessarily rate her without her, but I know that she's in developing mode because some of what she's trying to do is very difficult with.
Yes.
I'm just making a note, and I'm gonna do some research for her on this. That gameplay I think is brilliant for student led. I think that's perfect. Okay, next. What pattern? It says each group answers this. It says, what skill is missing? So that's why I've been kind of prompting some of our questions the way I've been doing it. So like if we're looking at our skills, what skill would y'all say would be missing? And I don't know if this is on y'all's or
I
not,
don't
'cause
think so.
No.
It's like, where
I
is
just
that?
turned the page.
that's okay. I'm just asking y'all. Do y'all even have it?
What skill is missing?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, there.
Oh, so
This
you
is
do you
just
got?
done different.
Yeah, mine has like lines for me
Yeah.
to read because I cheated. So what skill? So like looking at our evidence, what skill do we think is missing, or what concept isn't sticking, or what language is underdeveloped, or where are students guessing? So that's the thing. Like, I already have your answer, but I want to hear from you for our tennis people or our students.
Like,
So the underdeveloped people, you already kind of gave me it.
the attendance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, and some of it is also, part of it to where the ones that are in the middle
Mm-hmm.
is to me, is they're afraid to try a different technique because they're so used to this, you know, the wrong technique, that trying to implement the correct technique is like, but then I'll lose. But I tell them, hey, this is practice. It's okay to lose.
Okay, practicing new things. So they don't see, I get it. So they need an exemplar. They need almost like that person that practiced bad, that practiced good, as a example for them to see that good works.
Well, and you would think, because they watch Araceli play, because she dominates,
Right.
and it's like, but they still want to stick to what they know, even though she'll smash them,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it's like, they're just afraid that to take that risk.
So we gotta overcome that part.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's really good. Okay, so let's go to tech apps. What is our skill that's missing, or concept, or language? What do you
Just
think?
being able to communicate what they know, I think. Because once I start asking them, they can tell me, but communicating it on paper or even writing it on a prompt.
So we need to go from mind to verbal to written. Okay, I have some strategies for that, I think. So that's not what this meeting is for. This meeting is more for, let's identify those pieces.
Okay.
And I have the same struggle. I'll go, since we're kind of in the circle. Like, my struggle is I have 5 sections in the room. I'm teaching 5 different preps at one time, essentially. And it's high structure. And so as long as they stay to the structure, they'll be okay. But getting them to be self-motivated in certain areas, like, you have a paper, I need you to read number 1, 2, 3, they will not, unless I come over and prompt them with the thing. And as soon as I get them going, oh, that's easy. Here, use my thing. All
Yes.
right, so
And then when you have a
Monotony
lot
and
of kids in
singing.
one classroom, some just kind of end up being quiet, and I don't really realize that they need the help when you have so much going on.
right.
Was that annoying you?
No, you're
That was
good.
annoying me.
I was about to see a tennis racket come across this desk. All right, and then AV, what do we think over here?
For this, I think it's critical thinking and problem solving.
Okay, good answer. You want to develop that so I can write and while I'm writing?
What do you mean?
So critical and what?
Critical thinking and problem solving.
Oh yeah.
Because it's something that they need to, in the moment, they're gonna need to know, should I grab this one or should I grab this one?
Right.
Or planning or preparing for an event, thinking ahead, how long am I gonna be there? How many pictures am I going to take? Or how many videos am I gonna do?
Perfect. So this is the perfect lead-in to what I gotta say. So we have, attendance, we sort of, I don't know if we can really I don't know if we can beat attendance. I mean, we can make it as fun as we want. But figuring out how to getting over afraid over here, that's the thing that we gotta do there, right? Mind, vocal to written, right here. How do we communicate? That's the main thing right here. Critical and problem solving. That's the main thing right here. So what I want to do, how do we take those things that are our needs, how do we work backwards to get them to get there? Let's come up with just 3 ways that would get us if we were going to tackle this going backwards and I want my kid to XYZ, and how do we do that? And then just with one lesson, essentially, one lesson's not going to do it. It's incredible amount of practice, right? So what's one way we could, or 3 ways, I guess, because we have kind of 3 or 4 here that are kind of overlapping. What do y'all think? Oh, I already know what they need. So we're can you close my door, patience? Thank you. We're at the very end, so this is my last thing. So what do y'all think? So the question is this: how do we work from our check from understanding, because we have this intention that we want them to do? How do we get them to do that by what we show them at the beginning? You see what I mean? Because it's going to be that practice that gets them there. So how can we do that?
Are we talking about everything in general or just?
It can be both, because your answer might be everyone's answer.
I think for all three of us, it's quite literally practicing.
I think too, it's kind of like
practice
knowing,
talking.
now we know
practice-
now, it's like showing an example, like if I were to already have the sentence structures that I need to do and already have what I came out with that's gonna work, start from the backwards and start from
Do you think that'll
showing
help
how to
them?
show them how to communicate first
Oh,
before I start asking what I need from them. Does that make sense?
I think it's perfect.
One of the things that I was thinking about yours was because you were like, trying to get them to, once you tell them to write, it's like kids freeze, right? And so it was kind of going back to what you were saying, like in Spanish class, they're like, oh, I can't write in Spanish. I'm like, think about it. Tell me your sentence in English. And they tell me their sentence in English. Okay, now let's do the first word. What is it in Spanish? Now what's the second? What's the third? And they're like, oh, okay. And it's just getting them over that little, and the same thing that you were saying is like, you told them, just tell me what you're thinking. Just tell me what you wanted to say. Just say it. Okay, now write it. And it's so basic. It's just like, just write what you're thinking. They don't realize that that's what you want. Just write what you're thinking.
Yeah, they think we want a whole essay right then and there, I guess.
yeah, they're jumping to the big grandiose when there's little chunks that need to be done. And that's what I was going to suggest also is sort of like, well, before I say that, did you have something else that you're,
Oh, I was gonna say I'm a checklist girl,
okay,
so I'm thinking maybe like a checklist of the needs. Like,
okay,
how long am I gonna be at this event? What all am I gonna be filming?
right,
Maybe different sorts of checklists. Get them to where they are using that, and then eventually it'll just start clicking. Oh, I don't need that anymore. I know what I need.
perfect, that's perfect. Okay, so I wrote down all y'all's stuff, and I think that this actually leads perfect into what I wanted to segue to. So the checklist mixed with the sentence stems all in one sort of diagram. So what you do is you provide them kind of like start here, and it could be a slideshow, and it's like on this slide, it's just that first thought, type it, whatever it is. Second slide, it's that next thought, type it. Third slide, let's put the first two slides together like this. Now I want you to take what you typed and write it down. So we're kind of doing it digitally for just, transcribing reasons. And then we can move from that into more of a, let's hold it in memory to you put it up there and then they write, you know what I mean? And then that gives you your combination of checklist, chunking, and that would give both of y'all what y'all need is like a solution to getting them. And then what we do, that happens for so many days. And then you got to take away that. And then they have to, and you can do that in Spanish as well, right? But and y'all do it in a way, kind of like what you're saying, because you're breaking it down into chunks. And then what you got to do is at some point, we have to pull that out and see it and test where they're at. Are they good without the slides? Do they still need the slides? Can they go verbal? Are they able to actually get 2 sentences? And then that's where we move up to 3 and 4 into the paragraphs. You know what I mean? So that's perfect. Oh man, that was just the exact data I was looking for. Were y'all trying to add?
I want to add something, because talking about checklists, it just made me think, you know what? I'm going to have them do a checklist of getting to where they need to be as far as, okay, you're going to start on this court. You don't get to move to this next court until you've got this part of it. And then you can move to this court does this.
I like that too.
That's perfect. That is so perfect. And that's so funny because I wrote, what you're describing is instructional cause and effect. And you said exactly what I was like, that's like my lines. So excellent. And so like I had this little thing of examples that I would have said, but y'all already said it. It's kind of about modeling more, changing prompts We didn't talk about Titan grading. I think that's something that comes as differentiation happens. Adding visuals, that's a checklist. And with sentence stems, possibly even pictures, you know, because I think pictures work super good, especially for developing ELLs, you know. I think, do they work in your room pretty good, or do you use those?
We do a lot on, they do. I'm amazed at what they can do because they work in 2 different electronic, what is it?
Websites?
Yeah,
Do they put
Like
up their 2
programs?
screens?
yeah, they're 2, no,
Oh, no.
but it's 2 different programs, there you go, that's the
Oh,
word I was
okay.
looking for. One is called Boost and one is Vista, and so they have to work on this one certain days and then this one on certain days. And I in Vista, I go through and I assign it, and some of my kids finish way ahead. I'm like, well, hold on, let me assign you. And they're like, I'm done. I'm like, oh, hold on. And of course, then I have those that struggle,
Oh.
but then some are just, I'm like, why are you even here? Why aren't
Yeah.
you speaking English? Speak English to me.
Exactly. That's greatness. Well, that's almost it. Like, I have this one little cool line. I said that being resilient means we adjust, being worthy means we reflect, and being Cavazos means we commit. So that's that was my last statement, and hopefully that got recorded. and
No,
I,
I did not.
it didn't. It's
Oh,
okay.
no, it's still going. It just says low battery.